you have cities and counties who are making decisions about economic development and growth in our communities, and people sit idly by and don't get involved until something catches on fire. Rodney, you know this story as well as anybody. If the house is on fire, you're going to pack the room out. People are going to be loud and boisterous and demand a change. But soon as that fire is quelled, people go back to their comfort zone.
Greetings, my posse. Welcome to the Roundup with Rodney and Rodney. I'm Rodney J. Littles.
And I am Rodney Butler. Hey, Rodney, how's it going, brother?
Yeah, good, my friend. I can't complain, man. Just trying. Hopefully, you're going to get some rain soon, man. It's like a drought out here, man.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Hey, same on this end, man. Just scratching and surviving, brother. Scratching and surviving like good times out here.
Yes, sir.
But listen, I know we have a great show tonight that you put together. I can't wait to get to it. And I know we have a wonderful special guest that you're going to be introducing here momentarily. And also, I want for people to know we have a very, very hot topic tonight where we are going to discuss how DEI helps everyone, to include our non-melanated brothers and sisters. It helps you too. Amen. And also our host spotlight, where we are going to talk about how the government shutdown impacts the state of Georgia. So Rodney, without further ado, man, let's get this party started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's my pleasure to have I call him my neighbor because we live in the city of South Fulton together. Benny Crane Sr., owner of the Benny Crane Agency, a professional business and personal insurance group. And he's been serving the community for a number of years. Welcome, Benny. He also was the chairman of the South Fulton United Incorporated Group that was a big advocate and champion for the new city of South Fulton. Since 2008, he worked on that. Actually, before 2008, he worked on that. Benny, welcome, man. Good to see you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here. To be among such a distinguished group of Black men, it certainly elevates my day. So thank you guys for the elevation. I appreciate it. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
Oh, man. Full disclosure. Benny's one of the guys that stamped my visa so I could come to work in Georgia. Yes, indeed. I had the pleasure of meeting him back in the day, working on the new city of South Fulton referendum in 2008. That's when I got here. And had a great opportunity to know him since then. So it's a pleasure to have you, Benny. So for the folks that don't know you or the folks that think they know of you, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what influenced you growing up, and tell me about some of the things you got involved in as you got into the political and business community.
Well, listen, I'm a Grady baby, born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, and my biggest hero growing up was my mother, who I've often said she was the best dad on the planet. Raised by a single mom, she was raising 3 kids, and she worked her fingers to the bones to make sure that me and my brothers didn't go lacking. Because many kids in my neighborhood, they had 2 parents in the household, and when it came down to having a difference, whether it's having a color television in the household, and that became a thing back then because we didn't always have them.
Yeah.
Some folk, Rodney, you don't know about that over there. So you always had a color TV. We understand.
Which Rodney are you talking about?
You're the one.
No,
you were born into color television, but we had black and white TVs with 3 channels, 2, 5, and 11.
All right.
We had a rotary dial.
Yeah. Okay.
So, having a mom who saw value in working a lot of jobs. Of course, we were latchkey kids. My mom worked very hard to make sure we were able to compete with our neighbors around us and didn't get caught up in the streets to try to make up a difference. And in her effort to keep us busy while she worked, my mom got us involved in music. And she tricked us. She got my brother into taking drum lessons. She had me taking guitar lessons, and she was supposed to be taking bass guitar lessons. And I'm here to report, in her absence, God rest her soul, she never took not one music lesson. She tricked us, but the moral to the story is it got us interested in music,
Right.
and that was in probably 1967. And here we are all these many years later. I'm often referred to as a music mogul, still involved in music in a way that I never dreamed of. So, but as a young person, I got involved with politics. That was a local politician running for the House seat. House seat. I don't remember the number, but it was a House seat in the Kirkwood area. And we were in the street passing out pamphlets, and then another candidate who was running for that same seat, but he was going to be a write-in candidate. He offered us a few dollars to pass out stuff. The other guy wanted these kids to work for free. And that guy who got us involved was none other than Hosea Williams.
Wow.
And he became a great mentor of mine for many, many years. And he died, I will tell you. He went to his grave still owing me money from when I worked in his campaign. It was the 76th House district. He was a write-in candidate. He did not win, but we were close many, many years after that. Got a chance to work with Hosea, Andy, and Dick Gregory, Ralph Abernathy. Every Saturday, we would go to the Wheat Street Baptist, no, wasn't Wheat Street, it was the West 100th Street Baptist Church when they were on M.L. King. They ultimately moved to the West End, but every Saturday they hosted the Hungry Club Forum. And we were there, we were talking about, the struggles of civil rights. But anyway, as I became a young adult, I, worked with Hosea Williams on the march on Forsyth County and continued to do a lot of stuff around, civil rights and human equality. Became a charter member of the Fairburn SCLC chapter with Pastor. Haven't seen him, but got deeply involved down there. But beyond doing the civic stuff and the social kinds of things, consciousness stuff, I spent my life as a businessman. I operate several small businesses, and in addition to that, of being very, very active in South Fulton County and still in the new city of South Fulton. So, I've given my life to service in many capacities. That life of service defines who I am and what I do.
Did you serve in any panels in government while you were in business?
Well, and I still do. I served in quite a few substantial capacities. I was appointed by former council, not council, Fulton County Commission chair years ago. I was appointed to be over Fulton County's public-private housing initiative, and our responsibility was that of expending home funds to reduce repairs to seniors' homes and purchasing properties. I have funded many houses for Habitat for Humanity. So we've done a lot of that. We took Fulton County's public-private housing initiative from being the worst participating jurisdiction in the nation to pretty close to the number one based upon, the projects that came out of the ground and that were completed. I was responsible for, identifying CDCs, Community Development Corporation, CHODOs, community housing organizations, and helping foundations get up and running so that they will be qualified to take down some of these dollars so that they can build some affordable housing in Atlanta and Fulton County and in other cities in South Fulton and even as far as Roswell. I know we put a couple of Habitat homes in Roswell. We worked with former NFL player Warwick Dunn for his Home for the Holidays initiative. We have funded many of those houses that was rehab and that he ultimately gave to a Section 8 recipient. Now they have their own house. So we funded a number of those kinds of things. So I ran that for many, many years for Fulton County. And even something, a place that you may be familiar with, Pascal's at Castleberry Hills.
Yeah.
My
The new
organization,
Pascals.
the new Pascals, we funded that, and it was supposed to have an affordability component. The same
Okay.
thing with Atlantic Station. I put hundreds of thousands of dollars in land acquisition in Atlantic Station, and part of
Oh,
that development was supposed to be affordable, but
right.
they're only held accountable for the affordability components if there's someone on the ground that would be
Oh,
doing the inspections.
sex. Yeah.
And
Gotcha.
that's where Fulton County dropped the ball substantially. And listen, it was all about politics.
Oh,
Um, we found that that was not a great appetite to do inspection on that kind of stuff
okay.
because of the politics, the backroom politics, and
Gotcha.
but that's part of the equation. But that really speaks volumes about the collaboration with public and private.
Yes.
Whether it's small foundations, chodos, CDCs, or other corporations
Right.
that might be doing some great stuff. We did some work with a very, very prominent developer, Noel Khalil. God rest his soul. He just died a couple years ago, and he had sold one of the developments that we funded on Old National to built properties, and we put the only senior housing development on Old National Highway that
Gotcha.
really got finished and off the ground. The second one that I funded on Old National was right across the street from Walmart. It was named after Nelson McGee in collaboration with Ebenezer Baptist Church, and they were
Oh,
never
okay.
able to. They built 3 or 4 houses there, and
Right.
this was a number of years ago. But I just noticed recently
Hmm.
that those properties have sat in language for years, and they were demolished by the city of
Oh,
South Fulton. But
okay.
but we had a great deal of success in
Right.
making great things happen for the least of these who needed help. We had seniors whose bathroom floors were caving in, or
Hmm.
windows that were leaky and drafty, and
Right.
we put in new windows and new floors and made life better for the least of these, our seniors who
Right.
needed help. And
The
when they
age in
found out about
place.
the program, and Rodney, you'll be delighted to hear that the department that supported my agency for Fulton County was run by Dr. Camilla Moore.
Wow.
Yeah, her
Sure.
office supported
Okay.
my organization. So we worked
Wow.
very, very closely with Dr. Moore, and now city councilwoman over in Union City, Angelette Milling. She was
Okay.
in there. The mayor of McDonough.
Yes.
She was then a part of. We had a great staff. Well, Camilla had
Wow.
a great staff, and
Right.
they supported my organization.
Nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. So it
So
seems
those are
like
the
you,
kinds of things we've been doing.
I got you. I got you. So your early childhood influence brought you to actually do the things that you were seeing needed to be done.
Absolutely. You can sit back and you can complain about why things aren't better, or you can roll up your sleeve and you can be that which you want to see. So I try to lead by example, and I continue that creed today. I try to lead by example in character and being responsible, being a good steward over resources that have been entrusted to me, and trying to hold other people's feet to the fire.
I
So,
know that story.
that's the story of my life.
I hear you. I hear you. So how did you get in? You said you've been into several businesses. Can you tell us a little bit about your business history?
Well, for around 15 years, until around 5 years ago, my sister and I had a logistics company, and it
Okay.
started out as a moving company, residential moving company, and we moved people. We did onesies, one at a time, moving somebody from one house or one apartment to the other, and then I was able to leverage my relationship with Atlanta government, the Atlanta Housing Authority, with the Honorable Renee Glover, and we were able to take when they were dismantling the public housing
Right.
developments. All of those people had to be moved, And we were one of the vendors that moved people. We moved hundreds, if not thousands of people from one location to the other. So we did a great job in that. And we expanded, had 8A certification, and we started moving military freight all over the Southeast, from Texas all the way up to the Virginias. So that worked very, very well. So we did that. But what I'm really, really proud of is what I'm doing now, guys. I'm working exhaustively in the entertainment industry. We provide high levels of entertainment for very, very wealthy clientele who need entertainment for their corporate event, for their wedding reception. We do celebrity weddings. We do athletes. Just a week ago, we were at the University of Alabama's stadium for a very, very worthy cause. It was the Boys and Girls Club of Northwest Alabama. We had, nearly 1,000 people there. We were providing a high level of entertainment, and we do that all over the country.
Wow.
We have probably almost a dozen different music groups that are traveling all over the country every week, and we do it at the highest level. And what I appreciate about that more than anything, number one, I don't do it for me, for my personal financial benefit, because I'm good, guys. Let me just be clear. I'm good. I don't need that for me, but to be able to see how you can empower other people to buy homes, to buy cars, to privately educate their children. And, so I want to be able to be that catalyst to empower our Black men and women to be able to do great things. And as a result, the many people who have come through my universe in this music space, many have gone on to form their own organization, and I may still maintain a management relationship even with their relationship, because what they were doing, I mean, it was almost like a franchise. They took, the template that has worked so successfully. So we've done a lot of things, and we got a lot more yet to do because of the climate that we live in today.
Talk to me about the climate. Talk to me about the climate.
Well, we got a lot of work to do. And listen, I don't have to go outside of I-285 to talk about the climate. I can go up the Beltway. I can go all the way up 95 north, all the way to DC if I wanted to, but I don't have to go that far to deal with the climate and how our people are being impacted by government. You have cities and counties who are making decisions about economic development and growth in our communities, and people sit idly by and don't get involved until something catches on fire. Rodney, you know this story as well as anybody. If the house is on fire, you're going to pack the room out. People are going to be loud and boisterous and demand a change. But soon as that fire is quelled, people go back to their comfort zone. But we need to be vigilant all the time about, a government accountability and making sure that our elected officials do the right thing, because when we fail to hold them accountable and they fail to deliver, then the city or the county many times falls short of creating and fostering an environment where you're going to get the best economic opportunity landscape possible. So let's talk about my city. My city of South Fulton. For too long, we have found ourselves being, in the public's eye for too many of the wrong reasons. And many business people, whether they're already doing business or hope to do business in the city, many have withdrawn their interest because they want to be in an area where economic development is at the center of what we're doing. And how do we do that? We got to have a pleasant atmosphere. We got to have ethics at the center of our core existence. We got to make the zoning process, not adversarial to someone that's not in your camp. So we got to make sure that we are postured for the growth, because the city of South Fulton is postured to be that beacon on the hill. It is one of the largest cities in the state of Georgia. It is the second largest city in Fulton County, with over 100,000 people and over $300 million annual budget.
Right.
You know, so that's saying something. And size, the population is about 10, but in
Right.
land mass, we're second to Atlanta in land masses
Land
as
mass.
well. We used to
Right.
be, we were at one point going to be around 102 square miles. We're around 85 square miles now because of an annexation that was
Right.
done by one of our sister cities, Chattahoochee Hills. But even at 85 square miles,
Right.
if you compare that to the city of Fairburn, which is 16 square miles,
Yes.
and compare that to 85 square miles, we can put Fairburn inside of our city 6 or 7 times.
Right.
And so
Right.
that just gives you how massive
Good point.
this is. And we have a lot of undeveloped land. This is an acre of diamonds. So I want to
Right.
see us be good stewards of the
Right.
political power and prowess
Right.
that we have, not just the money, but the power and influence that we have, because
Right.
it's going to attract, it's going to help us attract the right kind of businesses and help us retain the right kind of businesses as well. So I'm excited about the prospect that's facing us over the coming days, months, and years.
Sound like a candidate for office.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, listen, I hope that all candidates sound just like that, that they are inspired by what they see and invigorated by what these opportunities are. Because
Right.
if these opportunities don't um, get your fire going, then your wood must be wet. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's got to
Right.
be a problem. You got to be inspired when you look at this, because other cities, they don't have 85 acres, square miles to deal with. They don't have a nearly $400 million budget. They're not
Right.
building a whole lot of stuff, but we're going to
Right.
be building for years and years to come,
Years to come.
because we
Yep.
need a lot of things for a city that's 7, 8 years old.
Right. 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 And has a lot of undeveloped land.
No doubt
Um,
about it.
yes. So, given that fact, what do you see as the major challenges as we bring this to a close for our new city going forward?
Well, you know, the major challenge, and it's probably less major now than it used to be. When we got started, as you recall, there was a lot of growing pains that we were
Right.
experiencing at the council level. Um, we don't have as much growing pain now because we've really gotten our feet under us a little bit. We got a competent city manager. Not that the one that preceded uh, Miss Subadan were not competent before her, but it was so new. They had so much to
Right.
do in such a
Right.
little time. You got a lot of
Right.
balls to keep in the air at the same time. And in
Right.
addition to having a good city manager who has a head screwed on right, she brought past performance to the table. We have gotten some city council people who have gotten past the power hungriness, you know,
Mhm.
intoxication on power and influence. But still, we have a ways to go. So I believe, you know, our challenges may be, we got a lot of things to build. We got a lot of land to acquire. We got to do a substantial amount of land assembly so we can build the things that we need to build. And we got to make
Mhm.
sure that we don't get sidetracked on ancillary things like infighting, you know, people trying to elbow people out of the way to make room for themselves. So we got to make sure that the people stay engaged and fight against those things that are worthy fights, like
Right.
putting, you know, these data uh, stations, you know, that has become a thing in our community far too much. You know, data centers, they take up a lot of power. And that was some people I was just talking with recently. They were concerned about a data center. They are massive now. And over time, as we get more and more nano driven, because these
Mhm.
places, they house a lot of AI. And AI is a thing of not of the future, but it's of the now. They're housing these centers. So as the technology expands, the equipment gets smaller. Do you remember the cell phone used to be something big in a satchel? And now it fits on your wrist now. Things are getting smaller. So people are concerned now, leaders are concerned that in a few years, these data centers are going to be outmoded and they're going to be repurposed as a prison center, alligator Alcatraz, or a place to house So now, that's a great deal of speculation, but we do have to stay vigilant on making sure that the things we allow in our community are going to have a long shelf life, because these things are happening all over the country. And I ask the question, where are they being built? And the answer is exactly what you think it is, Rodney and Rodney. It's in the brown and black community. And if not brown and black, it's in the disenfranchised and the poor communities. Because in all other communities, they have the resources to push back and make sure, no, sir, it's not coming to Buckhead. It's not coming to Alpharetta. It's not going to Sandy Springs. I'm sorry, it's not welcome here. And they probably don't have to have that conversation. They just go where the resistance may be loud, but it's going to be short-lived. Because after a while, we're going to stop going to the meetings, and that's when deals get struck. Just like over in College Park with a battery storage facility. That battery storage facility came to a local government and said, okay, when you pass this level of zoning, we're going to give you X number of dollars. When you pass this thing, we'll give you more. And they did it in the public view. Really? That's how we do it now? Well, which to me, that's likened to some of the things that happened in Washington. The quiet things are said out loud now with no fear about retribution or consequential actions by the voters or constituency at all. So we got work to do, but I'm eternally optimistic that elections have consequences. And this election that's coming up, whether Atlanta or any other municipality, including South Fulton, this election will be the most consequential election that we have ever had, because we are sitting at the very precipice of great things happening all around this region.
Local politics affect you the most.
No question about it, because it's the only politics that determines how much water is going to be in your toilet. Okay. So, it impacts a lot of stuff. It determines how many police patrols your street. It's not what's happening in Washington. It determines how many parks your children will be able to go to, and how many potholes are going to be in your street to destroy your car's front end. That's local.
That's right.
And whether you like it or not, you're impacted by political decisions. So it will be advisable that we get immersed in the things that impact us, and it's called politics.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Wow, that was great, man.
Benny, hey, great information. One of the things I wanted to ask you before you get out of here is that you and Rodney both are from South Fulton, or live in South Fulton. So you guys have built this city, like you said, over 6-7 years or so, right? And building a city is very similar to building a business, small business, large business. And I know many of the obstacles, and being a predominantly black city is just like building a predominantly black business, right? And I know that some of the obstacles that you guys may have run into in building this city of South Fulton is some of the same obstacles that people who look like us will run into building their business. And what I would like for you to do is to let us know some of those obstacles. And if you had not done politics, if you not had played politics, would you have been as successful as you guys have been so far in building the city of South Fulton?
Question, Benny.
It's interesting. Well, the thing that drives economic development is when businesses, let's say developers, want to build a power center, they want to build a subdivision. South Fulton became a bastion of opportunity because the cost of the land is a lot cheaper here than it will be north of I-20. They built that out so much up there in North Fulton, and they've gone beyond it. They've gone to Canton. They've gone to Ackworth. You know, they're just leaving because they're trying to build north, but they came because of opportunities here. And the challenges that we had in trying to woo those people down here is that we just didn't have enough boots on the ground of people who had the information and knowledge how to do this. Many did, but the politics got in the way. So a lot of builders and developers said, I'll pass, because it became challenging. It became challenging because the process, the pathway to development was difficult, or there were a lot of hurdles they had to cross, or they had to deal with a climate of dysfunction that they just opted not to do it. Now, as most good business people, when the waters are no longer troubled, you'll get back in the water. If that was some heavy winds blowing, outside of your beachfront property and you got riptides, you're not going to get in that water while you got riptides. But when the waters are settled, then you get the all clear sign. Well, we got the all clear sign, but we have to continually do the right things and running the business like a business. And one of the things that we had to face, and that we are facing today, quite frankly, that is credit rating. You want to talk about Black businesses? Our biggest challenge is access to capital. We were the last ones to have access to capital, and this city is no different. There were very high water marks that were set for the city to be able to qualify to get bond issues, to fund projects. But at the end of the day, we were able to cross the line. I don't think the deal has been closed, but it's an agreement in principle. We got a memorandum of understanding that we're going to move forward. But as we start off small and fresh, greater things are going to come. We cannot be dissuaded by the challenges that we face. It reminds me of the little train that said, I think I can. I think I can. Climbing that hill for that train, Rodney, that was a monumental task for that little train.
Amen.
So was creating a city. We tried to do this starting in 2006. Sandy Springs was created in 2005. Milton and Johns Creek was done in 2006. We tried to make it happen in 2006. Chattahoochee Hills got theirs done in 2006. We got pushed back to 2007. That effort failed, but we're still climbing that mountain. I think we can. I think we can. A few years passed by, and your cohort, Rodney Littles, and I decided that I think we can. I think we can. And the hurdles that we had to climb, the political hurdles. So would we be where we are if it had not been for politics? No, because it took an act of politics to make this happen. Bipartisan politics to make this happen. And had it not been for relationships in the political arena, we will still be under the tyranny. Now, let me be kind. We will still be under the governance of Fulton County. Who had quite frankly failed us, Rodney, because they had stopped really providing the quality of service delivery.
City services,
and it shows in the we had a fire station that did not have a fire truck. We had recreation centers that were leaking. They had no air conditioning, outmoded equipment. I mean, we inherited a mess, quite frankly, because they stopped spending the money. And here's what we found in our hush. We found when we crossed over the burning sands, when we were trying to do the transition, we discovered that they were able to harvest over $300 million of local option sales tax dollars that the citizens of South Fulton should have had spent in our community. But because we said no in 2007 to the referendum, they took that money, they spent it in some other way other than for the fiscal plants that are in South Fulton. And now we're having to get all those things done. So politics, listen, as much as I hate it, I love it because we're here because of it. And we're going to have even greater things because of it. So it's a necessary process. It's a necessary thing that we got to deal with. Love it or hate it, politics is here to stay. I would much rather have local control than to go back under the form of governance that we have when 6 out of 7 people who provided governance did not live in the footprint of what is now the second largest city in the county. So I think we did the right thing then. And if I had to do again, I would do it again. Would I do it again today, Rodney, knowing what I know now of how things went? Yes. Because, we had some infighting then on the commission and even more now, so politics is a contact sport. Okay.
Good way to put it.
It is.
Well, thank you for that, sir. I just knew that I just wanted to make sure that you get that opportunity before you got out of here to explain, to the viewers of the Black Man's Roundtable that something I always tell so many local business people, and that is that if you don't do politics, politics will do you.
Hello.
And you can sit around and say, well, I don't like it. I don't like to deal with those people. I don't like to do this. But if you want your business to be successful, then they are the people. Whether you voted for them or not, they are the people that you elected or that your neighbors elected and that other business people elected to build, your city and also to affect your business directly. So all of a sudden you have this business and all of a sudden this road is closed, one of the main roads that lead to your place of business, and you trying to figure out why. I guarantee you what, if you knew the local commissioner or city council person, if you rub a few elbows here and there, then they would even maybe warn you that, hey, you really want to come to this meeting because Main Street that runs across First Street and down to Crane Street. Well, guess what? Crane Street about to get closed. So, but anyway, I definitely appreciate you bringing that home, that if you do business, then you better do politics. I appreciate it, sir. Rodney.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Rodney. Well, listen, Benny, is anything you would like to leave us as you close for the audience, and any way to reach out to you if they have an interest in doing business with you?
Well, listen, thank you guys for this opportunity to share with the Black Men's Roundtable. This was an honor and a privilege. What I would say to the guests as I part, guys, we have an election coming up on November the 4th. If you want to hook up with me, meet me at the polls. Go to the poll. No matter what jurisdiction you're in, what municipality, this is a municipal election year, go to the poll and vote. And if you live in the Senate District 35, there's going to be a special election on November the 11th. Go to the polls and vote for the person of your choosing in that Senate seat. Of course, State Senator Estevez has vacated that seat, and he's hoping to be the next governor of the great state of Georgia, but that seat is vacant. And this election on the 11th is for the unexpired term of that seat. Go to the poll, meet me at the poll. And if you want to reach out to me directly, if you don't see me at the poll, just Google Benny Crane, or go to bennycrane.com and you'll find all of my contact information. Live large and prosper and keep printing money, Rodney. I know you get green ink under your fingers when you're printing so much money. But listen, that's what we do. That's what we do. We print money. Keep up the good work, guys. Benny. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Sir.
Thank you, man. Regards to the family.
Thank you, Mr. Crane.
Absolutely. Thank you.
God bless.
All right. Take care. Have a good evening.
It's been a pleasure. Another surprise, huh, Rodney?
Yeah, man. The brother's full of knowledge, and I do, want for people to understand that there's no way that you guys would have been successful, Rodney, there with the city of South Fulton without being heavily involved with the politicians at the state level, because they had to make approval of things and all that kind of stuff. The surrounding cities, the surrounding counties. in order to be able to get that city incorporated. But I know, just like any business, there's still work to be done. And I know that you would tell anyone that at least half of the work to be done, you're gonna have to sit down with some politicians in order to get it done. So I definitely appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, Brian. Well, look, we're gonna move right on into our hot topic, and we're gonna talk a little bit about how DEI helps everyone, even to include our non-melanated brothers and sisters. Take it away, Brian.
Yes, sir, my brother. Yes, sir. Well, listen, I got to start with this quote. This brother's name is Jesse Stewart. He's on Facebook. Quote, "Racism in America isn't just ignorance. It's strategy. It's the old hustle in this country. Divide the people so the powerful stay in power. Trump didn't create this playbook, but he ran it hard, using fear of the other to distract from no real answers on healthcare, jobs, or cost of living. That's not politics. It's psychological warfare. We break it in by knowing the game, staying united, and refusing to be manipulated. The Constitution belongs to us. If we don't protect it, they'll rewrite it before our eyes." End quote. End quote. Psychological warfare, bruh. That's the playbook. Keep us divided. And one of the ways that they've kept us divided, Rodney, by making the majority folks who are non-melanin believe that somehow this 14% of the population is keeping them from succeeding because they are melanated. And they believe that this is true. But that's the warfare. That's the psychological warfare. So how does DI help everyone, including white people? I didn't say it. Janice Gasson, PhD, published this in August 30th, 2023. Critics of diversity, equity, and inclusion have launched attacks on all things woke. Now, I looked up woke, Rodney, and woke simply means that you are aware of oppression and discrimination and racism against a people.
Yes, sir.
That's what woke means, that you're aware of people being hurt by whatever means is used. So in May, this is 2023, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis stated that the acronym DEI, which stands for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, should actually stand for Discrimination, Exclusion, and Indoctrination, end quote. So, I'm like, okay, so, Rodney, we've talked about reparations on this and slavery, chattel slavery on the show.
Yes, sir.
The whole purpose of the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act, was to begin to repair the damage that was created by the 400 years of combination of chattel slavery, oppression, Jim Crow, and laws that barred us from fully participating and benefiting from this nation, this republic. So those efforts were supposed to begin, not using the term reparations, but to begin to repair and bring those folks up that have been oppressed, discriminated against, and their wealth taken away from them down through generations. So how they get this to be reverse discrimination or reverse racism is strange to me, in that you have seen and I have seen the continual dismantling of the repair that was supposed to be put in place in the 60s for the damage that had been done to our people. So they believe today that somehow we've been completely advantaged to the point that non-melanin people are disadvantaged. It's not true. It's just not true. So the real deal is, my friend, that DEI, the data reveals that white people occupy more executive level DEI roles compared to other racial groups. So it's supposed to be about diversity. Oh, what kind of diversity are we talking about? Oh, gender diversity. So if you're going to have a program to redress discrimination and adversity, then you have to have a legal predicate to set goals and have a program. When they passed the laws, the Transportation Service Act, which increased minority contracts from the Department of Transportation contracts back in the late 70s, once that rule was challenged, the courts came up with, you have to have a disparity study to demonstrate that there's actually harm in the contracting with your community, your businesses, by the government, or, be it federal, state, or local that was participating. So these states and the federal government could not have a program targeted at supposedly benefiting black businesses, so-called black businesses, because of the past discrimination, in order to have a program. But now they're saying DEI, affirmative action, is illegal, and we're throwing it out because it discriminates against whites. But you've not shown me any legal predicate for this. Where's the study? Show me the evidence. There is none. It's just thinking, as was said earlier, divide and conquer, letting people think that we're getting rid of these programs because it's helping black folk. Well, the truth of the matter is, the most recent studies I've looked at that have been published on federal contracting, forget about local, but federal contracting, there's still a disparity for black or African-American owned business, still to this day. And the programs were set up, again, to redress the history without using the term reparations, but they begin to repair and level the playing field. I guess what's one of the terms they used back in the day. Right. But the truth of the matter is, white women benefited the most, both in high corporate level positions, in contracting. Man, it's incredible. So that's what we're faced with this DEI issue. And it's a scary thing, because the bottom line is, if we're doing well, America does well. We're creating jobs for our community, so they're not on welfare. All of these things that you want to get rid of, but yet you want to choke that off because you're telling the people that DEI benefits those folks. In reality, it's your women that benefited the most. Man, you couldn't write this stuff in a movie and be any more crazy, bro. Any more crazy.
Yeah.
God.
Rodney, we talk about on this platform a lot how white women have been the biggest beneficiaries of what our forefathers, what our ancestors fought for, bled for, died for, got hung for, was sold for. And it's just that some people rather cut off their nose to spite their face. And I think that formula works so well, Rodney, and that is to make someone think that they are not getting something because they're qualified, but these other people are in your way.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just tell these people the truth? That maybe you're not qualified. Maybe you're just not qualified. Maybe you need the goalpost, to use a sports analogy. Maybe you need the goalpost to be moved in order for you to succeed. But a lot of people, since they don't want to believe that, since they don't want to believe they have a head start because it makes them feel, I don't know, inferior or some kind of way, then they rather for themselves to lose than to have to admit that. And it's really a shame.
Seats. The 2022 U.S. Census Bureau data says that social welfare programs have benefited white Americans more than any other group.
Absolutely. And that's per capita.
Yes.
That's per capita.
Exactly.
The first thing they're going to say is, well, we got more people. You better stop saying that too, because boy, a lot of things are happening.
Exactly.
But I'll leave that at that.
I know. So I wanted to just let folks know, particularly our community, that, this is a bamboozle. This whole attack against DEI. There's no legal predicate. There's no research that's been done that can back up the claim that somehow DEI programs and affirmative action has kept white folks out of benefiting from purchasing or jobs. It's not true. It's not true. It's a scare tactic. It's part of that psychological warfare to keep us divided, bro.
I mean, Rodney, and all these unemployment numbers are continuing to go up, even
Yes.
though all of these black and brown people, primarily brown people right now, but it's going to turn
Yeah.
into black people, are being thrown out of the country. A lot of them being thrown out illegally, but the unemployment numbers are continuing to rise.
Yeah.
And at some point, non-melanated people, the children of the colonizers, you're going to have to stop believing the propaganda. You're going to have to like Rodney's talking about, the psychological games that are being played on you. You're going to have to stop believing that stuff. And Rodney, before we get to our whole spotlight,
Yes, sir.
I want to, because I want to use this platform to say this continuously over the next several months. And
Yes,
that
sir.
is, I was having this conversation, and I want to say it right here on the Roundup first. I'm having this
Yes.
conversation. This person is talking about single mothers.
Right.
And fatherless black homes. They love to talk about single
that, yeah.
mothers and fatherless black homes, even though
The
study
Cranes
after
did okay.
study,
The Crane boys did okay.
you know what I'm saying? And even though study after study shows that black men actually spend more quality time
That's correct.
with their children and grandchildren
Yes, sir.
than any other racial group of men in America. And so, but they want to just keep ignoring that and keep believing this single mother,
Psychological warfare.
this single father or single mother home,
Right.
Fatherless homes.
Right.
Well, one thing that I want for us to start talking about, Rodney, when they bring that up, because we know that they're brainwashed anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But one thing I want for us to talk about is this, is that, well, you know what? If being raised in a two-parent household is so important and it's so magical, then why aren't there so many black young men shooting up schools?
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Doing all kinds of crazy, weird. We know that when it's something crazy and something weird and something just immoral, most of the time, those people are not going to look like Rodney and Rodney. You know what I'm saying?
No,
So I don't want to keep hearing about how terrible it is to be raised in a single parent home when most of the school shooters and most of the domestic terrorism that's going on, I don't know why they're calling it domestic. Well, I know why they're calling it domestic terrorism.
We know why.
But anyway,
You're military, man,
yeah, those children seem to come quite often from two-parent households. So
thank you.
I'm going to talk about that a lot on this platform, Rodney, because I'm sick of it, and it's time to shut them up
Shed
about
the light
that.
on it, bro.
It's time to shut them up. But anyway, Rodney, you can definitely close it out, brother, if you want to, and we can move on to your whole spotlight. I'm ready for it.
Bro. We've been talking
Shine a light on it, Rodney. Shine a light on it.
Bro. We've been talking about 2025 before the election, man.
Yes, sir.
I have a report card for you as of August, bro. Out of 317 proposals that were in the project 2025 plan, 115 have been completed and 64 in progress. This is as of August 2025. That would be
8 months in.
Yep. That's 53% have been completed. So what we're saying is Rodney were talking about this and folks just didn't want to believe it. And it's 53% completed as of August. So right now it could be closer to 60 to 65% done. And the intent was not to make your life and my life better at all. It wasn't about making America great ever. It was about what I spoke to at the top of this show. It's about control. It's about keeping folks at each other's throats while those who are making things difficult for us are not held accountable. So let's talk about Georgia, our home state, and what's being impacted by the shutdown. It's really interesting that the conversation has gone to why we're shutting down and who's blamed. Who's going to take the blame? Who's at fault? The issue is that the people who are going to be most affected live in red states, are solid MAGA supporters who have nothing in common with the people who are opposing these rules. Nothing. So Federal government shutdown, which began October 1st, 2025, is affecting Georgia by furloughing many of its more than 100,000 federal employees, disrupting federal research grants, and threatening federal assistance programs, which come down to the state and local government. The impact on Georgia's federal workforce. Furloughs and delayed pay, they estimate to be about 111,000. And they are required to work without pay, which they'll get paid when the shutdown is over. So it's a furlough. Although there are some workers, particularly at the airport, that are with the TSA that have to work even though they're not getting paid.
And the ATC, air
yes,
traffic controllers.
Air traffic controllers, yes. And so what we've noticed with the call-outs for sickness recently, that there's been a slowdown on flights that could land. There's been long lines in terms of getting out, flights canceled. So there's a disruption in that whole mechanism, but they will get paid eventually, unless the intent was to go on with the shutdown to fire people during the shutdown to complete the transition that they talked about in the 2025 project. So now, Rodney, I'm not an expert in this, but my understanding is that that's not, I don't know if it's not policy or not permissible by law to fire someone that you furloughed, because you're entering into an agreement when you furlough them that they will get paid once it's over. If you fire them while they're on furlough, they don't get paid for the time that they've been let go. So I'm sure the lawyers will work this out. I'm sure it'll be in court. But that's the threat that's hanging over us as a lever to get the Democrats to go along with this continuing resolution, which does not take care of the problem of subsidies for health care and the components of the Affordable Care Act, which will knock 24 million people off of health care. So that's
Rodney,
the exception.
Go ahead. I want to squeeze in there real quick before you finish with that.
Man. No,
yes, sir. And that is that people, look, I'm not a lawyer. You're not a lawyer.
Right.
But here's what we do know. Okay. And that is that, and what people I think tend to forget sometimes.
Yes, sir.
And that is that Donald Trump, when it comes down to the military, he is the commander in chief.
Yes, sir.
Meaning that he can almost do anything when it comes down to the military.
Yes, sir.
Now, I will caveat that with commissioned officers, non-commissioned officers, petty officers are absolutely not required to obey unlawful orders. I will caveat that. And they are sworn to protect the Constitution of the United States, not the President of the United States. But with that being said, he is the commander-in-chief, meaning that there is hardly, boy, he can get away with a lot of stuff. He can do a lot of things and ask questions later, as they say. You know what I'm saying, Rodney?
Right.
But also, now let's come to the civil service piece of that.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Donald Trump, people forget, just like commander-in-chief of the military, he's also the chief executive officer of the federal government. Now, we know that CEOs can do almost whatever they want to do. But again, I just want to say that because the guy understands, he probably didn't understand this in his first term, but he got the people around him to say, guess what? You are the largest employer in the United States is the federal government. And they have made sure that Donald Trump understands that he is the boss of all of those people. And so, again, we're not lawyers, but I just want to throw that out there, Rodney. So you know what? We know that most people in this country cannot survive missing 1 or 2 paychecks. Exactly. They are underwater. Exactly. They are underwater.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? If he make decisions that get you caught up in legal situations or human resource situations and all that stuff for 4, 5, 6 months, let me tell you, by the time it won't take long for most Americans to not be able to fight back. So I just want to throw that out there, Rodney, but please keep on, brother.
I understand. Oh, you're right, bro. You're absolutely right.
Yes, sir.
Agency impacts in Georgia. Veterans Administration facilities, counseling, transition assistance, Regional offices that take care of benefits operations are closed down. Fort Gordon, military operations are mostly shielded, but paychecks could be delayed for active duty personnel. We're talking about the military. CDC, about 60% of the staff in Georgia could be furloughed. Critical disease monitoring will continue, but communications and some other functions may be impacted. Other agencies, the EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, Department of Education, Internal Revenue Services, all are expected furloughs, and those are agencies that have offices in the state of Georgia. Programs, social services, SNAP and WIC. Non-melanated people benefit the most in the state of Georgia, bro, from these programs.
Per capita?
Okay. And we're talking about 220,000 Georgians will be affected by this. Higher education, Emory and Georgia Tech have warned that prolonged shutdowns could disrupt federal research grants, student financial aid for future semesters, and healthcare funding, on the college campuses. Of course, they talked about national parks the most on TV. In Georgia, that would be Kennesaw Mountain National Battlefield Park, Martin Luther King Jr. National Historic Park in Atlanta, amongst others. Of course, impact on travel, Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, TSA and air traffic controllers, one of the largest, most active airports in the country and or world. Here's one, Rodney. The U.S. Postal Service operates independently and is not impacted by the shutdown. Good news. However, it's impacted by other things.
Say that one more time, Rodney, for the people in the back, brother.
Yes, the U.S. Postal Service operations are independent and are not impacted by the shutdown. I think it's important.
Most people think the United States Post Office is a federal agency, and it's not.
No.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah. Eligibility for unemployment benefits. Here's a big question. The Georgia Department of Labor has announced that furloughed federal employees in the state may be eligible for unemployment benefits. Listen carefully, audience. If you're affected by this, go take care of your benefits. Go get your benefits. There's a key detail, however. Employees who receive back pay once the shutdown ends must repay the state for any unemployment benefits they collected. At least there's an opportunity to fill the gap if there needs to be, and I want to make sure our audience knew that, because I don't know if the news is covering that. Georgia political leaders are divided. Representative Buddy Carter is blaming Democrats, Senator John Office and Raphael Warnock supporting Democratic budget demands, which I talked about earlier. So that's the real deal on the shutdown. How does this affect our folks? Okay. Black Americans are overrepresented among federal workers and could be especially hard hit by furloughed and diminishing services. Black Americans make up 13% of the total U.S. population, but nearly 20% of the federal workforce. Prior to the shutdown taking effect, the Trump administration threatened massive layoffs of federal workers. It is unclear if it intended to follow through with that plan, but we do know that they're targeting agencies that they say are Democratic agencies. I don't know what that means.
Whatever that means.
I mean, I never heard of a Democratic-controlled Environmental Protection Agency. I don't get it. But
I can tell you, in my opinion, what a Democratic federal agency may look like to them.
Right.
And that is when they walked through Hartsfield-Jackson Airport and they see all those melanated TSA workers.
Right.
And they're like, okay, we got to do something about this.
I feel you. Ooh, what happens during the shutdown? An estimate from the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office says that as many as 750,000 workers may be furloughed a day. Will be furloughed. Senior citizens will continue to receive Social Security payments since the program is requires mandatory spending and isn't funded through the short-term appropriations bills. It's a separate program. Medicare benefits will also continue. The U.S. Postal Service is self-funded, as we said earlier, so that's not going to be affected the same way. But those were the issues. You heard what our Congress people said. Everybody's pointing the finger at everybody else. You know what I mean? But that's what we're facing, my friend, in this shutdown. I know that there's an issue about personal financial impact. On average, white households have $8,100 in liquid assets, while black households have $1,500 according to the 2019 data. So fewer black households say that they can get money from family or friends during a crisis. So again, this shutdown is going to affect our community harder than most. That's the bottom line. And those are the receipts, Rodney.
Always.
Standing
And
by it.
always, Rodney, you know what we say on this show? When white people get a cold, we
Yes,
get
sir.
COVID.
Yes,
So,
sir.
but you know what, Rodney? One other thing that I want to merge together, since we
Please do.
had Brother Crane on tonight and talking about how politics and business and all of this stuff comes together. And that is what supposedly Republicans are saying that Democrats, you know, as far as to why that the Democrats are holding the government hostage, is because Democrats are trying or will not allow for Republicans to start messing with Medicaid, messing with Obamacare, the Affordable Care Plan, which a lot of people are on.
Yes, sir.
Now, we talked about all politics being local, and you know we talk about that all the time here on this platform. I'm going to use this opportunity, Rodney, to let people understand what we mean, for those that don't know, when we say all politics is local. For the reason that the Democrats, and I applaud them for this, for allowing this government shutdown to happen so that Republicans cannot take all of these people's health care away. Because you may say, okay, look, I have private insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what they do, because right now I also talk about on this platform that people don't care until they are affected personally.
Repeat that, bro.
People don't care
Nope.
unless they are personally affected by things today.
Thank you.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
And that's a shame.
Yeah.
Because we were not always that way. But I don't think the majority that feel this way look like me and you, brother. But too many does look like me and you. But either way, if you think all politics isn't local, well, let me show you this. So, all right, you say, well, look, they need to open up the government. I don't care what they do as far as Medicaid and Obamacare and all this stuff, because I have my private insurance from my job or whatever, which is also an issue in and of itself, that your insurance that in America, insurance is tied to your employment.
Your job.
But anyway, that's a whole nother show.
Another issue, right?
That's a whole nother month worth of shows.
Oh, bro.
But anyway, okay, all right. So you think it doesn't affect you because you're not on Medicaid, because you're not on the Affordable Care Plan. I'm sorry, ACA. Now, that's cool. But when you look at all these hospitals around you, these hospitals could not function if it wasn't for Medicaid, Medicare.
Okay, come on now.
They could not function. Most of the people that is sitting in that emergency room or in a room upstairs, Medicare, Medicaid is paying for those people to be there.
Thank you, sir.
And if that hospital closed,
yep,
because it ain't enough private insurance people, I'm good. I'm good. I get the same medical insurance as those folks in Congress because I'm a retired military person. And then on top of that, I get socialist Medicare from the VA.
Okay.
I'll pay for anything.
What do you say, socialist
so
medicine?
I get both. I get the so-called socialist medicine from the VA.
Right.
So, but what I'm saying is this right here. My private insurance, which is TRICARE for me, doesn't mean anything if the hospital in my community is closed.
There you go. Thank you.
So that means now I have to go to the VA.
Thank you.
But I know most of the people that listen to me right now, you can't go to the VA.
Can't go to the VA.
So what I'm telling you is you got all the private insurance in the world. But what good is it going to do you when there's no hospital? So if you think that all politics isn't local, then you're wrong. I applaud what they're doing.
Yes.
Stop thinking to yourself, I'm not on Medicaid. I'm not on the Affordable Care Plan. And so I'm good. Yeah, you are good as long as you have hospitals to go to.
That's right.
So, Rodney, once again, brother, all politics is local.
Yes, sir, my brother. Yes, sir. I just want to close on repeating a portion of Jesse Stewart's statement, which will bring it all together. Racism is not politics. It's psychological warfare. We break it by knowing the game, staying united, and refusing to be manipulated. The Constitution belongs to us. If we don't protect it, they'll rewrite it before our eyes.
Yes, sir. And what a great note to close it out, Rodney. Great show.
Yes, sir, bro. It's always a pleasure being with you, Rodney.
Always.
Rodney and Rodney Roundup. Yeah, you can catch us on the second Thursday of every month at 7 p.m. And the Black Man's Roundtable podcast is on YouTube for recorded shows for later. It's on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. So until we meet again, we'll keep rounding them up.
Peace, Rodney.
Peace out.
Hey, family. If you like what you saw, visit our website at blackmansroundtable.com for more information or to check out more content. Until next time, we'll see you in them suites and them streets. Peace.